Premier League, arguably the greatest league in the world at the moment. And if it isn't, it certainly houses some of the best teams. It is a stage where most children growing up dream of performing. And that is not surprising. After all, the league is filled with superstar role models.
Ronaldo! What a goal! A stunning Ronaldo free kick! Oh, Reece's header wasn't good. Drogba surely for Chelsea! They're back in it! Gerrard. Torres, oh lovely! Steven Gerrard onside for Liverpool! Equalises! It's broken again for Ashley Young. Is there to be a final twist yet? Young! He's done it! Van Persie. Can he find a way through? Oh, yes he can! A crowning goal for Arsenal and Robin Van Persie!
Didier Drogba, Cristiano Ronaldo and Steven Gerrard are just a few players who kids reenact on the school playground, dreaming of themselves one day becoming a Premier League player. So often these dreams fade, but 24-year-old Arton Baleci is out to prove that with the right training and dedication, anything at all is possible.
The Premier League, or another top league in Europe, is, that's what I'm aspiring to be good enough to play in.
So, who is Arton Baleci? And how does he plan to turn himself into a professional footballer? Well, Arton is a 24-year-old from the northeast of England, and to quote Arton's website, he has set himself the following hypothesis. Can this man, a 24-year-old fanatic with average footballing skill, with the guidance of a team of experts, make Premiership football in just 1 year? Now, where did that idea come from?
It was something that was bubbling along for a while before the idea actually came up. I'd just started to play a bit of recreational football again after having a good few years not playing at all. Was really enjoying it and thinking of a way that I might be able to play at a better level. And I'd also been studying NLP modelling, and I'd really wanted a project to sink my teeth into with regards to that because it had really caught my attention. And after various grillings from friends who actually knew nothing about football, they were kind of challenging me as to why I wasn't willing to kind of try and play the game to a much, much better level than I'd previously done. And, at first I thought that the questioning was foolish and they were only asking because they really didn't know what football was about. Then I came to the point where I realised that out of their ignorance, the challenges were actually quite clever. So, I eventually put two and two together.
A key concept of Arton's mission is NLP modelling, neuro-linguistic programming. It is chiefly concerned with the relationships between successful patterns of behaviour and the subjective experiences underlying them. It was co-founded by John Grinder and Richard Bandler. Grinder is working closely with Baleci, and he has claimed that NLP would be instrumental in finding ways to help people have better, fuller and richer lives. To establish a better understanding of the concept, I spoke to NLP expert Jonathan Baker.
So describing it as succinctly as possible, it's taking what someone does well and applying it to what you do, to make what you do work well in the same way. I think it's important to do it your own way and to find your own fit. To take the model from what someone else does and make it work for you in your way. Having sort of experienced this and firsthand and knowing how well it works, I'm surprised that it's not used more widely. I mean, there are rumours about Roger Federer using NLP modelling and all sorts of real top athletes. What was it, Johnny Wilkinson? And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
Arton is very confident in NLP modelling and its ability to propel him to Premier League stardom. Over recent years, he has developed an understanding of the concept.
It's a different method of learning than that which we're used to. So if somebody wanted to get good at football in a year, they would usually go and find a good football coach and be taught how to play football well using the models that have been developed over the years. NLP modelling differs in that I am not being taught by anyone apart from the people who are already exceptional. So we see people week in, week out in the top leagues in the world displaying excellence for all to see. NLP modelling is a process that allows people to enter a particular state of mind that is very useful in soaking up the sensory information that we receive from the outside world. And I've used the analogy a lot of times. Kids seem to do this very, very well. They soak behaviour up like sponges from the people around them. If a kid is around somebody who's particularly good at something, they tend to pick up that skill. Now, we as adults, we don't tend to utilise this skill that children kind of take for granted. They don't even know that they're doing it. And as adults, we seem to lose that, but NLP modelling allows us to pick that similar type of learning style back up.
At the age of 24, many people would, I'm sure, suggest that it is far too late to break into professional football. After all, there have not been many late developers breaking into the Premier League.
Long by Seaman, Campbell's up there for it, and here is Ian Wright. Oh, that's brilliant by Wright, he's juggled with it, he's chipped it, it's in the net, and that is a real goal to cherish. What a fabulous goal from Ian Wright.
Ian Wright was 22 when Crystal Palace took a gamble on him. Up until then, Wright looked set to pursue a job as a full-time plasterer. But what impact does Arton think age will play on his beautiful aim?
I think that I'm working with some of the best people in the world in their respective fields. Yeah, I don't really see any way in which it'll be. The only way in which this is going to be harder is, say I get to go for trial at a team at the end. I can see that people's conception of what they might be able to get out of a 24-year-old. Say I go to trial and I perform like any one of the players on the list that I've put out there. I do an impersonation of them that is 90% as good as the actual player themselves does. There could be a question mark raised, even though this guy is an excellent player, would we want to sign him at the age of 24? I see that that's the only area in which I'm maybe disadvantaged. So, yeah, I don't really see any way in which I'm disadvantaged by my age.
So at 24, Arton firmly believes he is not at all disadvantaged by his age. The view from inside the game is not so positive. Manager of Coca-Cola Championship side Blackpool, Tony Parks, thinks that age will play a part.
He's 24-year-old, which is quite old in terms of trying to be a footballer. Clubs have got players from 4 or 5 years old. You look at Arsenal, they've got players at 17, 18 playing in the Champions League, playing in the Premiership. They have talent at a very, very young age, and they're the ones who kind of get through. I think he's got a tough job and he's going to find it very, very difficult.
To help him get to peak physical condition, Arton has enlisted the help of strength and conditioning coach Nick Grantham. Grantham has worked with world-class athletes across 20 to 25 sports, including the England netball squad, and now runs his own business, Smart Fitness, in the northeast of England. Grantham will be working with Baleci over several areas of his fitness.
It will cover the whole range of techniques. So initially, Arton's come from a background of relatively little training, although he's done sort of weightlifting before, but what we're looking at doing is trying to get him a program that would mimic that that you'd see in a professional environment with an elite athlete and a Premiership football player. So he comes in, we'll look at his warm-up, his movement preparation, so making sure that his tissue quality is optimal for the training sessions that's going to come through. So that will be looking at flexibility and mobility exercises, soft tissue work with him. We'll then take him from that and look at sort of balance, proprioception and coordination, just making sure that he's stable on single leg, before moving through into some of the more sort of strength related areas where we're trying to develop his strength properties and his power outputs. So looking at more traditional sort of free weight based exercises. And in addition to that, we also need to look at cardiovascularly, what does he need to do in terms of his aerobic and anaerobic fitness so that he can run around the pitch all day and keep up with the players. So we have that component that's programmed in. And also we look at his speed and agility and his movement skills.
Do you think that he will be able to reach the required level of fitness to play professional football?
It's a bit of an unknown, to be absolutely honest with you. The one thing I can comment on is the fitness aspect, and certainly he's come in at a fairly low base level, I would say. His initial fitness results certainly weren't setting the world on fire, and we've got some work to do. His second set of results that we've done some partial fitness testing, and he's certainly moving in the right direction, Can he do it? I think the big thing that he's going to need to cut it at any level of football is speed and power. I think in the modern game, speed, agility and the movement is the key. And from his initial results, he's got a long way to go. We just need to see whether we can optimise what Arton has got, and then is his best going to be good enough? That will be the real question that we need to answer.
Tony Parkes expressed his concerns at breaking into top-level football, especially in today's climate, regardless of any level of strength and conditioning training.
It's not easy getting into football. I think it's more difficult today getting in when you're 20-year-old. I think, with academies that have come into the game, the players who get in at 20-year-old will be very, very fortunate.
Parkes thinks that Baleci will struggle to fulfil his beautiful aim.
I think he would find it very difficult because players at football clubs would be at a young age, say average, but they would be training every day with top coaches for fitness, agility, for ball work, for everything, and they don't always make it. There's a lot of players now in football, a lot of very, very good players, so I would think he would find it very difficult because unless he has top coaches with him, unless he's playing at a very, very good level when he starts to play football, I think he would find it very difficult. I don't think it's that easy to have 12 months with a coach training every day. If you're an average player, you can only go so far.
The opinion of Tony Parkes then, not one of encouragement for Arton Baleci. But what about the people from outside the game? What about the view from people involved with NLP modelling? I spoke earlier to NLP modelling expert Jonathan Baker, and he hoped, if not for Arton's sake, but for the sake of NLP, that Baleci is successful in his beautiful aim.
If he does it, obviously it's down to him, down to his motivation to make it work for him. But, he's got a very good chance. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know what other athletes use. I don't know what kind of model they use. And professional trainers, I don't know what they train their athletes to, how they train their athletes. I mean, maybe a lot of it already is NLP, and maybe a lot of it is to do with modelling.
Do you think he can do it then?
I bloody well hope he does.
Arton has a list of elite footballers who, ideally, he would like to replicate the skills of through the imitation learning process of NLP modelling. But if he had to narrow that down, which player's career would he really love to replicate?
I grew up and my very, very favourite player whilst I was a teenager was Brazilian Ronaldo.
Slip through, and this could be the moment. He's onside the main man, and Ronaldo is now the greatest World Cup goal scorer of all time.
Ronaldo has a bit of a special place in my heart, as a lot of those adolescent role models do. To emulate any of those players on my list would be, I'm a lifelong Arsenal fan. Henry, Arsenal legend.
Thierry Henry for Arsenal. He's got made room for the shot. It's 3-1. Oh, what can you say about Thierry Henry?
Van Persie, current legend.
Van Persie arriving. Oh, what a goal! What a goal by Robin Van Persie!
I don't know if I can really pick.
If Arton Baleci transforms himself into the next Ronaldo or Henry, it could potentially revolutionise football. Whether or not he fulfills his beautiful aim is a different story. I can't see him pulling on an England shirt just yet. England lead for that man, Arton Baleci.